Hello, right now, welcome here into Caden's Weather Center, paying attention to now potential tropical cyclone 4 here as it is formed over here over Cuba. Potential tropical cyclone. That's what the National Hurricane Center is putting it as right now, right over here in Cuba. We want to keep an eye out, obviously, on this storm very closely. So as the storm heads off to more of the west-northwest right now and then pushes off to the northwest here in the future, probably by the next update here about 2 p.m., or tonight, we could be seeing it still continuing on as a possible potential tropical cyclone. Tropical depression most likely would start to form by early tomorrow morning once it starts to emerge off of northern Cuba here. Then we watch it continue, go through the Keys. That would really impact the Keys here with a little bit of that storm surge, as the storm could be already over here. We could be seeing some of that outflow right here with the waves starting to pick up, especially because we do have a new moon. But only expect 1 to 3 feet as of right now, so that's at least somewhat of good news right there. Then we see tropical storm Debbie potentially 50 miles an hour right here, but before making landfall between Cedar Key and Crystal River, we could be seeing a 65 mile an hour tropical storm right here, moving northeast after that, making that landfall. And then tomorrow I'll be talking about the Carolinas, Georgia, and how they can be impacted by potential tropical cyclone 4 right now. Taking a look right now here at the tropical weather warnings, we can clearly see tropical storm watches will be continuing 6 hours, 3 minutes down here for the Florida Keys here. Then we have the tropical storm warnings right now here for parts of western Florida, southwestern Florida. So that's including Naples, Marco Island, and the Everglades National Park. We could be seeing some tropical storm conditions here, pretty soon. Probably in the next 24 hours, we're going to be starting to see some tropical storm conditions there. Then we take a look here at the tropical storm warnings, and I don't know why it kind of messed itself up here, but we'll keep an eye out on this. 8 hours, 2 minutes here for tropical storm watches, stretching through Tampa here, Lakeland, Bradenton through Sarasota, Cape Coral as well. The one thing I do want to bring up, though, is also this Pinellas County. I think that's, Pinellas County will be paying attention to some tropical storm watches as well right now. So a little bit to be paying attention to. When could we see the tropical storm warnings start to impact maybe you guys? It's a big question. We'll have to see on when we get these tropical storm warnings out, when the National Hurricane Center starts to put, some of these tropical storm warnings up here and then tropical storm watches over here. A little bit to be paying attention to. We'll probably see it more at the 2 p.m. advisory or the 5 p.m. advisory tonight. So let's take a look here at the satellite picture. We're taking a look at this. Southern Cuba, having some thunderstorm activity. Same with parts of the Bahamas over here having a lot of thunderstorm activity. That's what these tropical systems do. They start to blow up some storms, and then the storms start to break themselves, and they start to die down, but then they start all back up again. So pretty normal for this type of system right now. But if we head back into where the National Hurricane Center is saying, so as you can clearly see, the Tampa Bay stretching just north of you all the way down over here to about Cape Coral. Tropical storm watches are expected here, and then tropical storm warning still continuing on for Marco Islands, all and down, really just south here, and then tropical storm watches out for the Keys. And you're probably wondering, why is there a tropical storm warning here but not over here? It's because does it have the opportunity to form into a tropical storm right here? So something to pay attention to as we go on, obviously. And we can clearly see, if we take a look at the timing, we have Saturday right here. That is Saturday right there. So that's already 1 day. So that's tomorrow. We're going to see it start to emerge off of Cuba. And then we're going to start to see it get closer to Florida here. And that's when we can start to see more of that rainfall start to pick up here in Florida. So the thunderstorm activity, the tornado threat could possibly be there as well. Then 8 a.m. Sunday right here. And then 8 p.m. on Sunday, we're expecting that landfall. And then after that, we're expecting it just to race off to the northeast here, off the coast of Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina. That's what the NHC is expecting, something to be paying attention to. And if we take a look here at the tropical storm, probabilities here, we can clearly see Saturday, 8 a.m., 2 a.m. right here for parts of the Bahamas and parts of the Keys. Now reaching over here tomorrow morning, we could be starting to see some tropical storm force winds for the Keys. Then tomorrow night, Saturday, 8 p.m., going in through southwestern Florida, and then Sunday, 8 a.m., kind of a little bit more through northern Florida, and then we'll start to kind of actually maybe stall out right in this region right here. So won't race off to the northeast here, but some of the models do say it would race off to the northeast. But taking a look at this could be a indication where we could be seeing a stall out, and that could be the worst case scenario for South Carolina, North Carolina, and maybe even Georgia. So something to be paying attention to. Taking a look here at the rainfall threat. The rainfall threat is going to be something big to be paying attention to as well. Florida, obviously, majority is that slight risk, but same thing for the Carolinas and Georgia. Slight risk for rainfall, heavy rainfall in this area, and that's a slight risk here. So really, I would say west coast of Florida really needs to keep an eye out on the rainfall threat right now, just in case of where the storm exactly goes. We could be still seeing it go just south here of Tampa, or we can see it go back into the Florida Bend, is what the National Hurricane Center is saying. But big question still out there on the table. Then we take a look at this right here, the intensity models right now from Tropical Tidbits. We can clearly see that we're keeping an eye out, obviously, on these storms. On this storm, expecting to possibly get up to high tropical storm force winds. We could possibly see maybe 65, and that's kind of what majority of the models are thinking. The GFS model is bringing it into a Category 1 hurricane. So something to be paying attention to. Definitely something to be paying attention to as the GFS starts to bring it up into Category 1. It's the possibility is still there, but we'll have to definitely keep an eye out on this. So taking a look here at the forecast models. So yesterday at the 00Z models, we had a lot more over here to the east. So having a little bit more of a spread out now over here in western Florida, having a little bit more of that spread out here on where we could possibly be seeing a little bit more of a situation when it goes, does it go more to the north here, or does it get pulled inland quicker? Big question still on the picture right now. So a little bit more of a spread out here, even though yesterday we saw a lot more of a spread out because of when would it go off of Cuba. But now we're pretty confident on it's going to leave Cuba at this area. But the question is when does it get pulled up? Something to pay attention to. So let's take a look here at the forecast models. The GFS, we'll get back to that because it's coming out right now. The 12Z is coming out here. So let's take a look here at the Icon, because I know the Icon has just come out with their 12Z. So the Icon model, we can clearly see right there, skipping a few hours, 45 hours out right now. There it is, expected to push off over here to the northeast still. And we'll go into kind of the same area it has really been sticking with. It's been sticking really with this area here. I mean, maybe a little bit pushed to the east, I would say, from earlier this morning. So, but once again, if this is, let's say the Icon model is right, the storm surge could be definitely something to be paying attention to, as well as these outer bands that do reach the western coast of Florida here. So something to pay attention to as well. So taking a look here at the precipitation from the Icon model, we're anticipating for all of the storm right here. Heavy rain off the west coast of Florida. Once again here, we could be reaching up to possibly maybe 12 to 14 inches of rain off the coast of Florida, and then possibly up to a foot of rain over here in parts of eastern South Carolina and North Carolina, and possibly even the Outer Banks. So something to pay attention to when it comes to the Icon model as well. Let's head it back into the CMC model. So taking a look here at the CMC model, we can clearly see the CMC bringing it pretty close, pretty weak as well off the coast of Florida here. Brings it right over here just west of Sarasota. Then brings it really kind of where the National Hurricane Center is thinking. Very close to the west coast of Florida here, and then brings it inland. Kind of what the National Hurricane Center is really anticipating here. That would bring a lot of rain over here for the western coast of Florida and pretty strong winds of probably 50, 60 mile an hour winds we could be seeing. So pretty gusty winds, I would say. Then impacts the Carolinas, not as too strong. So that would be at least some good news right there. Head into the total accumulation by the CMC right now. We can clearly see possible, if it hugs the west coast, we could be seeing lots of rainfall here for the west coast of Florida. Not as much as what the Icon is saying, but still a lot of rain could definitely be on the forecast for the CMC. So it seems like the National Hurricane Center right now, their forecast track is following the CMC, so a little bit to be paying attention to. Then we took a look here at the European model from earlier this morning. What do we anticipate from the European model? Bringing it up, 2 a.m. August 4th. Right there's your time. 1,010 millibars. Still not much at all. Still all that rain will be off to the east side of it though. Oops. We'll be off kind of the east side of it, paying attention to it really closely here. Lots and lots of rainfall still going to continue according to the Euro model here into Florida, and kind of just hangs out and before going into the Carolinas. So that could definitely be the European model. If it's right, we could possibly be seeing some pretty good amounts of rain in the west coast of on the west coast of Florida here, and as well as the Carolinas. So something to be paying attention to. Obviously, the Euro model keeps majority of that rain off land, which would be better news for everyone, but definitely something to be paying attention to, you know, because every model we need to take into consideration right now. So taking a look here at the GFS, this is the 12Z, so the brand new model here for the 12Z for the GFS. Lots of rain will still continue already on. Let's bring it over here to where the storm kind of is. There's the storm right there, just right here over the Keys. There's that storm. Rain starting to continue over here in eastern Florida. Then the GFS has kind of a little bit more of a different scenario than the National Hurricane Center, I would say. You see that front come down, or that trough come down, and then we kind of see it it's going to race off to the east here. So we're going to keep an eye out on that. But look how close to this. It does get close to the Tampa Bay, and then pushes off to the northeast right after that. We'll go through Sarasota. The question is what did we see any difference from this morning? If we take a look at the last run here, the 6Z, I would say we've seen a little bit more of a northern push. Yes, so a little bit of a northern push here, right there. So bringing it a little bit closer into the Tampa Bay here, racing it off to the northeast after that. Possibly racing it off to get out of Florida here, and then possible stall over here in the future. We'll have to keep an eye out on that, but definitely GFS says it's getting a little bit strong off the coast of South Carolina, and then possibly could impact the Carolinas as well with the storm surge if this becomes something pretty big. And let's take a look here at the total accumulation right now of the 12Z. We can clearly see heavy rain will start to possibly fall in Georgia, South Carolina, but still lots of rain could be also here in the west coast of Florida. So something to pay attention to. Really something to be paying attention to as we go on. Let's head into the H-Wharf model. Not pulling up anything right now. We got to wait for those H-Wharf model, I guess, to most likely just find themselves to figure out where the storm is. So I'll definitely post that on my X. So please make sure you are watching this storm very closely, especially if you live in the Carolinas and if you live in Florida, because we are running out of time for you guys to prepare. But just in case, for Florida, maybe anticipate for a possible Category 1 hurricane here. So please be making sure you are staying tuned to your local National Weather Services and the National Hurricane Center. Make sure, if you did like this video, leave a like and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. I might be posting another video later on today, later on tonight, to track this storm. So please be making sure you are staying tuned and you are watching the Tropics. Thank you so much for watching, and bye-bye.